Hi, welcome to the AIM on MS&T podcast. If you're tuning in for the first time, AIM stands for Academia, Industry, and Military, which are the main sectors that make up Central Florida's modeling, simulation, and training community. Our podcast focuses on different leaders in this ecosystem, and we talk all about the cool and innovative things their organizations are doing, trends that may affect the MS&T field as a whole, and keep you up to date with what's going on. Even if you're not in the modeling and simulation community, hopefully we can teach you a few things about a significant part of Orlando's economy that's second only to the theme park and hospitality business. I'm your host, Kate Finkel, and today we have Angela Alban, founder and president of Simetri. Thanks for being here today, Angela, and to start this episode off, for anyone listening who isn't familiar with Simetri, can you please give us the origin story? How did you start your company? What does it do?
Sure. So I started the company in 2009, primarily with the goal of creating employment opportunity for myself that I could control and I could understand where I was going to be and what my future looked like. Mm-hmm. My priority was to raise my kids in a very present fashion, and I didn't think that I could do that being a full-time employee somewhere else. So that's why I did it from a personal point of view. But I also wanted to create an engineering organization that was innovative and that was also agile. So with time, I was able to do that. And now we are pretty much that. We're an engineering organization that supports primarily the Department of Defense. We do a lot of research and development of new training technologies, and we have commercialized those and we sell them as well, not just to the Department of Defense, but also to the civilian sector.
Now, I know you have a relatively new manufacturing facility in Winter Park. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how it has strengthened Simetri's products and services?
Well, when we moved here a couple of years ago, it just made all of the difference in the world. The manufacturing area here is at least, if not larger, than the entire facility we had before for everyone. Wow. Mm-hmm. So I think it was quadrupled in space. We're now in 15,000 square feet. And we have ample space for everyone to sit and work comfortably, but also to do the manufacturing involved in many of the products, to include additive manufacturing as well.
Can you now tell us a little bit about the special effects that your company provides to scientists, researchers, and medical providers, and why those are so important to immerse users physically, mentally, and emotionally, and how do they relate to MS&T?
So up to date, primarily our products have been focused on medical training. And they have been used since 2012 by the U.S. Army, as an example. We've got products that have been in their medical simulation training centers throughout the world. Those are providing the warfighter with an opportunity to see what realistic wounds and injuries look like so that they can be prepared and be able to develop the muscle memory required to treat or care for someone that has been harmed or injured. The products are primarily made not just to be realistic, but also to be affordable, reusable as much as possible, because we're all taxpayers as well, and then very easy to use too. So anyone can use our products and make any training scenario far more realistic. We're now transitioning into different technologies that we're developing. So we're doing a lot of extended reality development and a lot of embedded microprocessing kind of capabilities, not just within our anatomical models, but in other products as well for other training areas.
Thank you for explaining that. Now, we understand that you are focusing on engineering services now as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So it's been now 3 years. We have had a certification called CMMI Level 3. We've been appraised and have maintained that. Last week, actually, we just did our reappraisal, and all things went well. So
good.
We're expecting to get that certification renewed, I guess, in the next month or so. And we've been focusing a lot on the discipline involved in developing not just our products, but in developing new technologies as well. It's important for us to be able to do that so that we can be consistent as we scale. And the engineering services, it's no different than what we currently employ now. It's just a different audience, if you will, or a different application. But the same process applies across the different disciplines. We have engineers represented in electrical engineers, we've got mechanical engineers, software engineers, quality engineer, logistician, configuration management. We have every kind of engineering discipline that you would find at an engineering company.
Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about your involvement in the local community. I saw you won the Hispanic Business of the Year award for heading one of Orlando's top Hispanic businesses. Congrats on that, by the way. And outside of Simetri, you sit on numerous advisory boards, as well as winning the Igniter of the Year at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Can you talk about the importance and impact of women achieving leadership positions in the business and our community? How has your participation in those organizations yielded payoffs or advantages you've never expected?
I personally am a very private and shy, introverted person. I don't enjoy that part of my job, but I do think it's important not just to build for Simetri's brand as much as it is to provide other young women and even men the opportunity to see women excelling and doing things that they otherwise may not know about. So I do try to make myself available to people whenever they need me to be able to speak about that, because not that it's been easy, but it's been achievable. Yeah. Everything that I've accomplished has been achievable. So I do want to spread that message as much as possible. And the second thing you asked was?
How has your participation in those organizations yielded payoffs or advantages you've never expected?
There's so many. I think as much time as I have given to serve the community in different ways, I think I have probably personally, and then the company has benefited threefold easily, which was not the reason I did it or I chose to do it. That has been surprising. So for me, being an introvert, it has kind of, I don't want to say forced me, but encouraged me to grow and develop that part of me that I think would have otherwise not have developed as much. By putting myself in a professional setting, it makes it easier for me to break the ice, so to speak. For the company, it just opens my eyes personally, but also my colleagues and my team's eyes to what else is going on in the community. Being in touch with the community is very beneficial for everyone. Beneficial for us because then our employees become ingrained in the community.
Right.
It helps retention. It helps build a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose. So, I try to bring the employees with me to as many events as possible whenever we have book buds at UCP of Central Florida where we're reading to kids in the classroom, or when we're judging senior design projects at UCF or doing anything at the high schools, speaking and telling them about what we do. We try to do that as much as possible together as a team because everyone gets a lot out of it.
As we approach the end of the year and go into 2025, what are some professional goals you would like to achieve in the next year?
So my kids recently left to go to college, both of them. I am now an empty nester. And not having to be physically present every day and with them does free me up to do a lot more. So I've actually been spending a lot of time the last few weeks thinking about that and mapping out what my strategy is to use this time on. I'm working on, actually we're about to have an offsite meeting, and we're going to be working on rebranding in a way that conveys our capabilities a little bit more effectively and also hopefully opens us up to more opportunities outside of just medical training.
Now, for our listeners who are thinking about going into a field like yours or building a startup, what advice from something you learned the hard way do you wish someone had told you when you were first starting out?
I think probably don't be afraid to dream big.
Yeah.
And I'm not a risk taker, so that's something that I probably, where I don't resemble an entrepreneur. I'm not a huge risk taker. I take measured risks and very calculated risks. But I wish that I wasn't so responsible, and I wish that I was a little bit more of a poker player, because I think that actually is something that, maybe it's just not my personality, but that's an area where I wish I was different.
Angela, thank you for sharing your story and Simetri's story today. You gave our listeners a lot of great information. To keep everyone updated on future events in the modeling and simulation community, check out our website, teamorlando.org. You'll also find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook for more recent news and upcoming events. We have some exciting things coming up in the next few months that you will definitely want to be a part of. With that, we are going to wrap up this episode. Again, I'd like to thank our guest Angela from Simetri for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're interested in being a featured guest on AIM on MS&T, please reach out to Team Orlando News. The link will be below. Don't forget to follow the AIM on MS&T podcast on your platform of choice, and we will see you on the next one. Bye!